All right, this is Cheap Trick, Jonathan, joined by Alan from Al's Destroyers,
The Butcher,
Vance from Cavance Crusaders, and we're here for the first time ever with our own Blood Bowl mock draft. Unlike other leagues where they just throw crap together at the last minute, we're actually planning to do this in one take, so we're doing at least a little bit more than other crappy leagues.
yes.
We got 1 week to go. We're here to mock
Did you just call us a crappy league?
Well, I think we are a crappy league.
And I thought you were going to cue "We Are the Champions" before we started this, because obviously nobody else has taken
What
the title.
happened to in the course of human events when it becomes
Self-evident that 3 people with too much time on a Saturday afternoon decide to do a mock draft. They show up at the table.
Wait, are we recording this?
We are recording
We
this.
might want to get started then.
All right, we've got on tap, we're going to do a mock draft. We're going to actually draft pick for everybody and then mock you at the same time.
Yeah.
We got a couple questions at the end. And from there, we're just going to see what happens. Hopefully this will be great, and we can do this a couple times throughout the year and enjoy it. If nobody likes it, well, screw you and find a different league.
That's right. Don't watch it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So anyways, we'll
You
start
don't
off.
like it, you do it yourself. Yeah.
Last year, we saw Al's Destroyers finally get back into the winner's circle
Thank
for
you.
his 4th time,
Thank you.
knocking off a 3-time champion in a row.
That's
Willie-
4 times more than the rest of you.
4 times more than everybody else in the league. Well, I guess Cavance Crusaders can say 3 times more than you.
Yeah.
Yeah, take
Yeah,
that.
I've got a championship.
So the question is
Championship.
Alf going to win again? Is this Alf's year to do a back-to-back? As we've seen multiple champions, or at least multiple times we've seen back-to-back champions.
To be honest, no, I think Snowstorm has a good shot this year.
I don't think
she's
it
one of
sounds
the top
fun.
runners.
I'll tell you what, I just don't see how you can beat Cheap Trick. Maybe.
The divisions are going to play havoc with everything this year. That's for sure. Alf and Snowflake are in just a ridiculous division. Then you got
That'll be
Cheap
tough.
Trick and Replacements. I tell you what,
Replacements could come up and bite you in the butt.
yeah, I tell you what, look for Drew's Warriors. I like Drew's Warriors. They're out of that 3rd division. Not going to have to beat themselves up too much to get there. They could sneak in. And at the end of this, we're going to pick our choice for who's going to win it all. So we'll get to that. But first, we're going to start with the mock draft. And the way this is going to work is we've got 3 people here. We've each taken 4 teams. We're going to alternate, much like you'd see on SportsCenter, only ours will be interesting. And we're going to start with Cavance Crusaders is going to have the 1st pick. Alf's Destroyers is going to have the 2nd pick, and I'm going to take the 3rd. And the way we did it was so that none of us were picking our own picks or somebody that we knew.
We don't give you any strategy.
And not giving you a strategy.
Yeah, I'm giving you strategy. I thought these things through.
Keep in mind, we've tried to think these things through, but some of the picks we give you, we may be lying.
That's right.
We may just be messing with your head and thinking, hey, we do a video, do your own video if you want to figure it out.
That's
We ain't going to tell you how to draft. We're just going to tell you what we would do.
Exactly. And of course, just like as always, when something impactful happens in the world, Watu the Watcher is here. This
Right.
will change the course of human history, as Vance said. So let's get on to it. The number 1 pick is Drew's Warriors this year. If anybody sees a trade, feel free to throw that in too. But we'll start with Vance. What do you see going here?
I think if I was Drew's Warrior, that I would trade this pick.
I agree.
I don't think he has any choice but to trade it.
I think he needs too much. He's got to trade this pick and go down. But I don't think he's going to do that because I think he's going to start the year tanking.
No, I don't think he can start
No, I
tanking again
can't
for a
tank.
3rd year in a row.
You can't tank.
I'm thinking Sean Lee here.
Whoa, no.
Sean Lee?
Yeah, he broke his ACL, so
That would be a Drew's Warriors pick.
I don't see Drew going with that.
I'd like to say that Drews goes with Johnny Manziel here, but I just don't see it because he's got 3 reliable quarterbacks.
He's set at
He
quarterback.
doesn't need Johnny football.
But what he does need is a running back. 'Cause
Yep.
if I looked at his team, he
Terrible.
only has 2 starting running backs.
And one of them's Marshawn Lynch.
Who they're looking at is going to be a lot less role play this year.
Yeah, I see him in a retirement home by the end of the season.
Yeah.
Oh.
250 carries 3 years in a row.
I think he's over
got
300.
Is he over 300?
I think he's
know
right
he's
up
at least
there.
250 for 3 years now. So
So what's the official pick?
The official pick is Bishop Sankey.
I agree with Bishop Stanky. I thought it was.
I'm going to disagree with both of you. The only thing I'm going to disagree on is he does need running backs, but I think you can't
That's not a
overlook.
disagreement.
You can't overlook Sammy Watkins' talent
Yeah, that's
at this pick.
I thought Sammy Watkins, but I tell you, he needs the running
Well,
back.
I'll concede to Shanky.
Yeah,
I think that's the best running back on the board.
Can we concede to call him Stanky?
Stanky. I'll call him Stanky.
And I'd like to point out it's Sankey, not Shanky, Stanky, or Swanky.
I like Stanky.
I will say he needs to trade. I don't think he can trade.
I don't think so.
I don't think anybody's going to make the move up.
I don't think this draft year
Kavon's
has
Crusaders, very interesting.
Alpha is too, but you ain't getting much for it.
All right, so Stanky is off the board officially. I think we all agree this is probably the pick for Drew. I don't think there's much choice in it if he gets stuck there. I think he's going to try to trade. I think he should trade. I don't know what the value is there.
Yeah.
And next up, drafting for Mudcats will be Alf.
I got Mudcats, person that's been in the league for a long time who still struggles, but I really think this year he's got to look at solidifying some of his lineup, and I think his quarterbacks are weak, and I know he is a high, what do you want to call it, profile player pick. He likes the guys that have the name. I'm going with Johnny Manziel, second pick for Mudcats.
It's not a bad pick, but he does have Nick Foles. I think Vic could start some this year, and if I'm not mistaken, doesn't he have Geno Smith as well?
He does, but I'm wiping Vic. I'm wiping him.
You're wiping the Jets out altogether?
Yeah, I'm just looking and going for a long-term pick. I think he understands the league, and Mudcats has a trend of liking a high-profile player.
There's no question about that. I would go Watkins, but I can't argue the Manziel pick.
I got to go with Manziel, and the reason for that is because I know Mudcats, and I know his dad is a Browns fan.
Well, there you go.
So you got to go.
So you throw a little fan favorite in there, and then you throw in that.
You got the most talented guy. You got the fan.
His
favorite.
draft style is always high profile.
But can you see Manziel being dropped week 8? Because whoever Mudcats picks, he's going to drop him week 8. I mean,
I see Geno Smith being dropped week.
Okay.
I see Mike Vick being dropped.
No, Mike Vick, I think, is a wipe. I think Mike Vick is a wipe. I'm just done with the Jets all the time.
Well, I do agree, and I think Manziel's a solid pick for him, which puts us to 3, was bottom to top. Bottom to top, of course, his team. He needs a lot of help in a lot of places, but most of all, he needs quarterback.
Amen.
When he's starting with Alex Smith and that's all you got, that's not a good place to be.
No.
I think I know where you're going with this. This is a freebie pickup.
His wide receiver is actually pretty good.
Killers.
Keith, I would
Nobody understands what you did, Keith.
No, I don't know why you put McCown out there, but I think you have to draft him here.
100%.
You got to go Josh McCown. I don't like the pick. Let me just say that. I don't like McCown as a number 3 pick in any draft, but in a league where you need quarterbacks, you've got 2 starters on every team, McCown is the only one that makes sense.
I think it's a shoe-in.
You have to take McCown.
Yeah.
Yeah, bottom to top, cannot pass on McCown, and I think he picks him up.
Yeah.
I had
totally
him.
agree.
No idea how you play this game sometimes.
No.
Not knocking you. You've been here since the beginning. We love you. We love having you here, but really dropping a starting quarterback during the offseason.
Well, he wasn't starting during the offseason, but you got to sit
I
on
don't
him.
care. You could hold on to your players.
There was no
till the
reason to
draft.
drop
You can
him.
hold them till draft day.
Yeah.
And you're going to throw somebody out. It's going
That
to bite
could
you
have
in
been
the
a
butt,
starter.
Keith. This is going to bite you in the butt.
This was a time, this was what I've said. Don't drop your players in January.
That's right.
There's never a point to it. Even replacements.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong here. Now I didn't throw a little strategy. I think that everybody's seen the butcher pick somebody up and drop him. There you go. Somebody take that defensive player round 1, please.
Well, replacements, if you notice, still has Tony Gonzalez. Gonzalez is retired, but what?
Why
Maybe he decides
drop him until draft day?
He doesn't need to.
You don't need
so.
to. I agree.
All right, back to Vance. You're drafted for Knights of Excalibur with the 4th pick, and this is an interesting one. I'm confused.
I got to tell you that I absolutely love that I get a pick for my division here. So, people, pay attention because I'm giving you good advice.
You do have 3 of 4 picks in your division.
3 of 4. I get to do my division. The problem with Knights is he needs everything.
Yes.
He's got to get a quarterback.
I have a needs column, and he's filled up with all of them.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. But I think in our league, quarterback is key.
I agree. But is there one there at 4?
Oh, yeah.
I think the
I know where you're
pick
going.
here-
I don't like it.
I think it's got to be Bridgewater.
I don't like it.
I've got Bridgewater knocked down in there, too, as a number 4 pick because I think with the trade for Manning this year, he's good for 1 to 2 years. He can set somebody. Really, your toss-up is Bridgewater and Broyles. And I think Bridgewater is just, one, he's U of L. He's local. And knowing he's the youngest player in our league, he does a lot of media looking. So I think he's going to lead that, lean towards that direction.
Here's my problem with that pick. Bridgewater, I'm not sure about. When I take a 4th pick, I want to be sure.
Right.
McCown is not a Peyton Manning, but he's a sure bet at 3.
Right.
Bridgewater has looked shaky thus far. I like Mike Evans, the wide receiver out of Tampa Bay, as one of the guaranteed 10 touchdown kind of wide receivers. Now, I know that we're a quarterback league, but when you're drafting 4th and you need talent, you don't need a quarterback, you need talent. You need across-the-board talent. I would take Mike Evans and put myself a star wide receiver on that roster because you're still not going to be great this year. Your goal, I would think, and I don't know what your plan is, your goal, I would think, is to flip Peyton Manning for youth and draft picks as the season goes on. And maybe we're even going to see a Peyton Manning trade in the draft.
I think that's something that you'd also see is him maybe moving up to that number 1 slot with a number 1 and 4 pick.
Yeah.
Is what I would be looking for with Manning because obviously Drew's Warriors needs the help. And if you could get a 1 and 4 pick for Manning, that's a pretty good package.
Knights needs the help?
Yes, Knights needs, but Drew needs a quarterback help as well.
No. Drew doesn't need the quarterback. Drew needs
the running back. So he may move up into a 2 and 4 pick.
2 and 4 or a 3 and 4 or just depending on how it goes. But he's got to get
and
talent.
Maybe get a veteran out of the...
He's got to get more talent.
And because I'm better than anybody else at the table, for extra points, you should drop Kendall Hunter.
Oh, nice. Didn't he tear his ACL?
He sure did.
Okay.
I'd be done with him.
Alf, 5th pick replacements.
Again, I think replacement's been in the league long enough. He understands the strategy to our league now, and
doesn't need our help, and we should just skip the pick.
Well, I'm gonna throw him one out here, but I don't know if he'll go with this. Where he's played so long with us, he knows how to do research and has shown he can build his team. I'm putting him setting 2 years on his first round draft pick, picking up Broyles.
Bortles?
I'm sorry, Bortles.
I can't believe you went with Bortles. That's who I picked.
Is it? I just think he can afford to set for 2 years. He can afford it.
Yep.
The problem is, and the reason I disagree with that pick, he has no backup quarterback. Bortles does not start those 2 weeks he needs.
But who else is out there for him to pick up who could be?
Well, in my world, Evans just went, and he would take Bridgewater. In my world. In a different world.
Yeah.
As it is now, I can't argue Bortles because there's just, his big needs are quarterback and wide receiver.
But I think
he can take a chance.
2 years.
I will tell you this, though. Here's who Bortles makes sense. I'm telling you who it's going to be, and he's probably going to laugh when I say it because he's going to know I'm reading his mind. But Panthers fan, Panthers homer, Kelvin Benjamin. He's going to take Kelvin Benjamin, the number 1 wide receiver from the Carolina Panthers.
First pick?
Yeah.
First round?
I'm sorry.
Who? Yeah, I'm looking. That's a 3-round pick. Second or third round.
I thought Steve Smith was the number 1.
Steve Smith's done.
Smith is in Baltimore.
Wait, I really need to look at my team.
He's done.
Yeah. I'm telling you, if it's there, and I think it will be, I don't see replacements holding off because
it'll be there. It's just just matter if he has the cooch paw to wait to round 2 or 3 like I have him slated to do.
Yeah,
but he's been in this league long enough. If he wants to go that route, I don't think he can lose there. So.
Kelvin Benjamin is the number 1 wide receiver for a team. Now, is he a wide receiver number 1 in fantasy? I don't know. But you got to be your number 1 for your team to start.
That's right.
And I think he's there. I think that's who I would lean.
See, I have a problem with that just because Cam Newton is his quarterback.
And he loves Cam Newton. As he posted all over the board.
My body!
I heart some.
My body says no.
I'm sure he has like 2 posters in his living room that he kisses when he comes through. Maybe slaps one as he walks through the door.
But high five.
Yeah,
be your mom's favorite player.
Yeah, it's okay replacement. We all have some little quirks, but
we got some love,
a little bit. But I don't know if I go that crazy.
All right, so what was the consensus there? Bortles.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or as I'm going to call him Broyles, just because I don't say anybody's name right, so that's going to be who it is.
I thought Broyles was a wide receiver for Detroit a couple years ago.
Yeah, maybe.
I think bottom to top took him about 8 years in a row. So we're back to bottom to top, and in my draft, there's still quarterbacks available, but in our mock draft, quarterbacks have just went crazy. If this breaks down like it does, bottom to top needs a running back, needs a quarterback.
You're right.
Absolutely agree.
Don't think he needs a wide receiver, but I'm sorry, Mike Evans is a 10 touchdown guy.
You are all about Mike Evans. You've given him to 3 people in a row.
But he hasn't officially drafted.
I figured that's how much he was into Mike Evans. So I figured that's all we'd hear today.
Mike Evans is Mike Evans. I think he's going to be a touchdown machine. I think he's the guy to go with. I don't think bottom and top needs him. I think in terms of fit for a team, it's a bad idea. But I think in terms of talent, when you need talent, you take the best available player. If there's a fit an available player, you do it. But who's out there as a running back? Gerhardt? Who else? Who else is there? Jeremy Hill? I mean, now you're talking Carlos Hyde. You're talking the backups.
Yeah, you're not.
Do you want Gerhardt? He's a 3.5 yard per average guy. He's a guy. He'll be good.
He'll get his yards.
I've got him slated to go pretty soon in this draft.
Yeah.
I assume that he's going to go high, but he's not a star. And he's only got about a 4-year window, I think. He's not going to be the guy running into Jacksonville's terrible line for a long time. Take the guy who could be the 10-year starter. Take Mike Evans. It's not a fit.
I don't mind your pick, but I disagree. And again, this is my world and not what's happened here at the table. But I actually had agreeing with you from bottom to top, going with Stanky. Did you taking Stanky this late?
Yeah,
I couldn't see Stanky lasting that long.
No.
Well, I can't imagine Watkins is still on the board, and we're talking 6 picks now.
Yeah.
So you're preaching Evans, and I'm telling you, Watkins is going to be a serious competitor. He's a 10 touchdown guy.
Well, I'll tell you this right now.
See,
Watkins is on the board because I forgot we didn't take him.
Okay, because I was going to say, Watkins, I'm watching him just keep falling here.
I would pick Watkins over Evans. I've made the official pick. I thought Watkins win.
Okay.
I probably should keep better notes.
No, that's all right, because I agree. If Shanky's not there, if Stanky's gone, he's got to take Watkins.
Yeah.
But I do agree with your picks. He's got to go receiver. I also think he really needs to look running back, and Stanky was my choice because I really see DW jumping out for Watkins.
just to make sure that none of us agreed on this pick, I went Toby Gerhardt.
Oh, let me back up, just so everybody knows. This is Kavon's Crusaders picking the 7th pick for Cheap Trick, and you're going Toby Gerhardt.
No,
you were going the 6th pick. I'm sorry.
I was still talking about.
You're talking about bottom top. Okay,
So we agree he needs a back.
He needs a running back. I can't fault Mike Evans, who I should probably mark off my list somewhere. But Gerhardt's a guaranteed starter.
Gerhardt is a guaranteed starter.
Right.
I'm afraid he's just a guy.
Yeah,
Now,
I agree. And I'm a running back guru. I try and look for the running backs every year, if nothing else, to trade fodder. And I'll tell you, one draft secret, Gerhardt's not even on my list.
Well,
because he is. He's a 1 year and out, maybe a 1 year and a backup after this year.
Well, in my current mock draft, and this will step on Kavon's toes a little bit, but the 7th pick, I would have Cheap Trick myself taking Gerhardt.
As a backup.
Mainly because you got Ray Rice out 2 weeks, you got Chris Johnson and Chris Ivory, who knows what they're doing.
You don't have to rely on him.
Exactly. It's a guy. He's a guy.
It's a perfect segue into the 7th pick.
He's your
which would be
Justin
Cheap
Hunter.
Trick. And I think that because Cheap Trick has Ray Rice, who's out for 2 weeks, he'll pick up Bernard Pierce.
It's not a bad idea, but I hate using that pick for 2 weeks.
First round pick for a handcuff. Ouch.
I see. I'm not sure that Pierce is just going to be a handcuff, though.
That is
I don't think it's terrible. I don't think it's a terrible pick because you're right. Pierce may come out, but I'm going to
see how Rice played last year.
Yeah, I'm going to throw out
10 pounds lighter now.
I think we've heard it 100 times.
And he can hit women harder.
Knock it off?
He can knock their heads off if he wanted to.
If you line up 11 women, he's getting out of that elevator.
He can slap them right down to the ground.
Slap a hoe.
Even drag them around a little bit.
I disagree with both of you. I think that Cheap Trick's a much smarter player than that. I don't think that he would take a handcuff with his only first round pick. I'm honestly, he said the name 50 times already. I've got Cheap Trick taking Mike Evans.
As much as Cheap Trick seems to be in love with Mike Evans, I have to agree that I think he would take it now.
He doesn't need Mike Evans, but he'll trade one of his veterans for something else and put Evans in as his 4th wide receiver.
I'll tell you this, if the draft worked out the way it did, and you've got McCown and everybody off the board, and Sammy Watkins was still sitting there, there's no question he would get taken at 7.
Oh, absolutely.
If Watkins is there on our mock draft, he's kind of falling because he doesn't fit anybody's needs. I'll take 8 wide receivers. I don't care. I'll take Watkins and I'll figure it out from there.
Right. So I've got and I think the Crusaders made a great pick on the running back, but I don't think Gerhardt's the way Renegade would go.
No,
too high of a price for a handcuff.
By the way, I said Bernard Pierce.
Oh, Pierce. That's right. You said Pierce. Handcuff Pierce.
I will say this about Pierce.
I didn't even have Pierce on my line here, so.
I dropped Pierce last season, week 12. It takes a lot for me to drop him right at the end of the season
and then to pick him back up as your number 1 draft pick?
It's tough. But it makes sense, and it may be a fallback. But the way this is rolling, I would probably take Watkins.
Yeah.
Now we go to 8th with Killers. have you got a list of kickers?
Yeah, I did. I actually have him taken out of Vinatieri as the 8th round pick. That's who I was going with. You know, Vinatieri's old. He's about done, and he's a kicker. Or I was also looking at the tight ends, but there's just not a real lot of talent there compared to Vinatieri.
I'm thinking Eric Ebron.
Okay, that was my joke.
Nice Ebron?
Yeah, as a tight end, but that'd be 4 on his team, so why not? Just throw him off.
I've slotted him to take Brett Favre.
All serious, Keith, I've got you looking here. Now this is considering that Watkins did go and that Evans is gone. I've got you taking Beckham.
But now you can back into Watkins.
Yeah, he could have easily. He'll take Watkins.
If you want to take let's take Watkins off the board because
Is he taking Watkins?
He's taking Watkins.
He'd take Weckham. He'd take Weckham. He'd take Watkins.
Weckham's heck nearly killed them both.
That's right. If he's there, Watkins got to go by this point.
At this point,
he has to go.
And I think Watkins. I think we've all admitted it. Watkins slipped a little bit because we assumed we drafted him and then we kind of lost him.
Yeah.
So just to get everybody back up to speed, the 1 pick was Stanky.
Stanky.
The 2 pick was Manziel, the
Johnny
Mudcats.
Football. Yeah.
Bottom to top would take McCown.
Absolutely.
Knights of Excalibur would take Teddy Bridgewater.
Yeah.
Replacements is taking Bortles or Broyles or Boyles or
Whoever,
something.
the peanut guy.
It starts with a B.
That's
we
right.
know that.
And he's sitting on the bench for a year, so you don't have to learn his name yet.
Yes.
So.
Bottom to top, we've got taking Mike Evans, who is my poster board to go along with
Obviously, you're in love with him.
replacements.
Obviously.
I've already ordered it, so if I don't get Evans and I've got the fat head on the wall, it's just gonna be awkward. It's gonna be like Alf with that Adrian Peterson ornament.
That's right.
Cheap Trick was Bernard Pierce, and Keith, we've now said would take Sammy Watkins.
Yeah, Watkins got to come off the
Keith is another one. The Killers, they need a little bit of everything. I think you can sneak another year or two at quarterback.
Yeah, I think he's good.
I think Big Ben and Eeyore Manning with his I'm just happy to be here.
He's not going to be flashy, but his quarterbacks, they're 20-point quarterbacks.
Next year is a big quarterback year. With the kid from Florida State, Jameis Winston, if he can stop stealing crab legs.
Yeah.
Mariota from
That's a hard
Oregon
thing to
State.
do. I mean, crab legs.
are
Or
tempting.
Oregon, yeah. I don't understand. He goes into a grocery store in his own city.
Yeah.
And if you don't have the money, just walk up to the teller and go, "Hey, can I have these crab legs?" Somebody there is going to go, "Sure, man. Just call my girlfriend or call my buddy or something. Sign something."
Give me an autograph. Yeah, let me steal some crab legs down my pants. I mean, one, you're asking for trouble. Where do you think crabs come from, dude? Come on.
Yeah, I
thought they came from girls.
No, they don't come from girls. It comes from crab legs.
No, they lied to you. So we've got Killers take in Watkins, and I think he's got to take.
I would like to throw in my 2 cents here. I actually think that Killers would go with Brandon Cooks from New Orleans.
You know what? This is scary. My mock, Brandon Cooks.
Yeah.
That is scary.
Because I have it. I really think this could be
scary.
He's got Pierre Thomas, or he's had Pierre Thomas. I don't know if he's still got him. He's had him, dropped him, had him, dropped him. They break up more than a middle school couple. I don't know what's going on there, but I could see him going with the Saints. I could easily see him going Cooks. That kid looks like lightning in a bottle. Now, he's going to get squashed at some point. We'll see how fast he is the second time he runs.
I give both of you credit because I haven't been impressed with him. So
Really?
I'm just saying at this point, you still got better talent to me than Brooks. But if you're looking at a fan favorite, why not? Why not? But
Has he ever said the right name?
Not
today?
once. I was even thinking it.
What did I say there?
He said Brooks.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You combined him into
Sorry.
Brooks.
I'm sorry. So there you go.
Brandon Cooks is Brooks.
Yeah, names mean nothing to me, but I think Keith's shown that he's just a consistent player if he shows up at all. But in all likelihood, even though he said Watkins, I'm still going Vinatieri as the final pick.
And that was...
I'm thinking as the final pick, Keith doesn't show up and doesn't bother to send anybody a list.
That's right.
No, I don't see that. I think he's learned his lesson. So, Keith there, we've got him
5
taking
years
Watkins.
Yeah, got him taking Watkins.
Okay, Vance, the 10th pick with Knights of Excalibur.
Didn't you just skip Rags to Riches?
You think he's showing up? Why should I pick him? You guys stepped on my joke a little bit there with Keith.
Yeah.
Rags to Riches has missed him for a while. So I have to do the work. He's not doing it. Well, what's the point here?
That's why we do the smart draft, so that they don't have to do the work.
Well, if Rags to Riches is there, I see him as, of course, I went out and listed what people need. He's a wide receiver and a QB needer.
Yeah.
QBs, according to my list, currently Derek Carr or Tom Savage. I don't like the Wonder Years, and David Carr didn't do very well, so I can't imagine his illegitimate son or brother or whatever he is going to do much better. So I'm going to lean towards the wide receivers, and
Mike Evans.
Mike Evans is the pick. No.
We can only take him 3 times in one draft, guys.
I got Cooks going to Killers before him. I think the truth is Rags to Riches is going to take Jordan Matthews from the Philadelphia Eagles.
Is
He's
there
the
any
slot
particular
receiver.
reason that none of you guys like Beckham?
I got Beckham. Where's Beckham?
Beckham's looking at probably 8 touchdowns,
I got Beckham.
800 yards.
I've got Beckham behind Cooks on my list.
Beckham's from the Giants, right?
Yeah. He's
I
behind
think I
Ruben
just
Randall.
explained why I don't like him.
Well, Eeyore? With
Yep.
Eeyore? Okay.
I'm just happy to throw a touchdown here and there.
I agree he needs a wide receiver. I'm going, where we've dropped everybody else down here. I'm still going with Beckham. I don't think, you look at these super fast guys, I'm going to take Beckham. Long, lanky, score a touchdown.
Eli's only going to throw 25 touchdowns, and he's got Victor Cruz.
He's going to catch 8 of them. Victor Cruz sucks. Everybody knows I hate Victor Cruz. I'd rather see him just stop playing football.
So apparently I didn't look at Rags to Riches team or something because I have written down. This is written down.
Written.
Wide receivers and
country word.
quarterbacks are set, so he takes Jeremy Hill. I must have looked at the wrong team if you're all telling me he's got to get wide receivers
I
and
think he has to
quarterbacks.
have a wide receiver. From
I think it's a wide receiver. He did trade you for Brandon Marshall, but
That's true.
At running
That is
back,
true.
he's still of course, I can't think of them all now, but he's got Andre Ellington, Giovanni Bernard, Shane Vereen.
I think he takes Hill just because he's got Bernard.
I don't like to handcuff running backs. I know a lot of people do, but a lot of times,
See, but
especially when the second guy isn't as talented.
10 years in the league, I can tell you, as a guy who loves his running backs, and I don't think anybody can really question my ability to draft a running back. I've never drafted a handcuff running back situation. Even with people like Bush, I don't have Bell. And I'm not saying your pick's bad. I'm just saying that in our league, in a dynasty league, handcuffing takes a pick off your bench. It serves no other purpose.
There's not enough room.
I
That's
agree
right,
with
to
you. The only
handcuff. There's
thing is that I don't see this as a handcuff.
Well, and I'm just going to say that's why I've got 4 and you got 1.
He pulled out the
Well, let's just pull the big ones out early.
he went with the statues. Jeez. All right,
That's it. I've had it. I'm done.
let's turn the camera off, and we are done here. The Watcher packing it up.
This is bull crap. I ain't gonna put up with this stuff.
I haven't seen Vance put in his place so much since a Chihuahua crapped under his foot.
Man,
The Chihuahua,
that's a nasty dog.
let him know. Hey, the Chihuahua just let you know what he thought of you.
Despite the 4-1 comment, we're still going to stick with I get to make the pick, and Rags to Riches is taking Jordan Matthews from the Philadelphia Eagles.
Good enough.
Let's move on.
The butcher, you knew it was coming out sooner or later.
Somebody got smacked. I figured it was going to be one of you all out in La La Land. But it was not.
I'm just gonna play hero clips. I'm done.
Knights of Excalibur at the 10.
Second pick in the first round. Doesn't happen very often.
I think he's going to have 3.
I think he will too.
I think
he
somehow he
trades.
gets a 3. I don't know where the
I do
third
too.
pick is going to be, but I think he will get 3. Knights of Excalibur.
I'm not doing it.
He's done.
4-1, he's done.
All right, Knights of Excalibur. I'll tell you, I had Knights of Excalibur taking Sammy Watkins.
Wow. Had Sammy Watkins
That is a
dropping
huge
that low.
fall. I can't see it happening because I know I hold the 7th pick.
Sammy Watkins ain't going beyond that.
If he hits 7, I know he stops somewhere.
It's done. It's
Somewhere around that number 7. I think it's going to be his stock click.
But I think he nailed it. He's got to get high profile players
I think
to
so.
turn his team around.
But
And
based on the way that we have drafted now, since Sammy Watkins ain't available, I think it has to be Brandon Cooks.
okay.
Yeah, Brandon Cooks is a good pick.
Still on the
It's
board.
not the way I go. Of course, I had originally said that I thought he would take Mike Evans, just like every other team I thought in the league.
Mike Evans. Mike Evans.
At this point, I think if Knights of Excalibur does not make a trade with Peyton Manning and increase his talent pool, and he's got Peyton Manning, I've got him taking Derek Carr here.
Two
I'm-
backup quarterbacks.
Yeah, I'm ripping on him. I'm making fun of him because he's the backup in Oakland. Matt Schaub has looked terrible this preseason.
yeah.
And I've wanted him to look good because I'd love to trade him, but he's looked awful. Derek Carr may be starting week 1.
Yeah.
He'll definitely get a game or 2 in this season. And if I'm completely wrong on that, he'll get a game in or 2 in next season.
I agree. Now, I went a little different on this because I really have in picking up Bridgewater, which I think is a good pick. I think the quarterback's great. I did have him picking up Gerhardt here. Of course,
I think he does need a running back, and actually Gerhardt would fit pretty well here.
But go back to my Jag talk about him just being a guy.
Right.
I'm afraid that he's just a guy, and he makes the worst thing, and I think this has happened to Knights of Excalibur, not last season, but the 2 years before, where he made the playoffs, but he wasn't very good in the playoffs. He gets close, and he really knocks himself out of draft picks, and he thinks, I'm only a couple players away, but really, you're just getting close. You're getting close to being competitive. You're not getting close to being championship competitive. You need players. You need stars, and you need guys who can step in. We know what Gerhardt is. Gerhardt is a good player, but not a great player. And I fear that. So what did we ultimately decide? Are you going Cooks or Gerhardt?
I'm going Cooks.
Okay, so Cooks has come off the board.
I think that's a good time. And just to throw out, because I never did comment where me and the Crusaders got arguing there. I did have Rags to Riches on the previous pick taking Eric Ebron. Ebron.
Doesn't he have Jason Witten?
He does, but how much more has Witten got in this tank?
I hear Witten's the man in Dallas now. All the people are like, hey, he's the best leader ever. And he's like,
okay.
Yeah,
I think I just like the young guy going to the Lions. I think he's got some potential.
He's got potential. I still have the stigma of after Vernon Davis killed me for about 4 seasons, I stay away from the tight end first round. It's
a rough pick, but that's where I was.
That would be my argument. Is you almost never see a tight end go in the first round.
I think he's got potential though. Going to the Lions, I think there'll be a lot of receptions his way. So.
I absolutely agree. I think he's going to be a great player, but. It's the first round tight end. I mean, what are we?
But we do. I will say that this is a bad draft.
Yeah,
this is a top 5, 6 heavy, and then the rest we're throwing things at the wall and seeing what happens.
Well, yeah, that's actually very true.
So I get my rival next for the 11th pick.
It's always fun.
And one thing I give Rebecca is she is consistent and loyal to her team above all else. And looking at her,
tried to trade with her. Come on.
There's no way she'd ever trade with me. I think she'd rather just kick me in the.
There's no way I would ever trade with you.
That's probably true.
I'll give you my 2 scrubs that sit my bench and will never start for Brandon Marshall.
I think the 4-1 just ended any trade.
I think we're done for another couple of years. I know this isn't a glamour pick, but Snowflake isn't all about the glamour and stuff, and she's very loyal. And I know you guys are probably going to beat me up pretty hard on this one, but I do see her going in a direction different than anybody else's. Now, Beckham is still on the board, but I don't think she needs it. I'm actually going to put down she goes with Clowney. Takes the defensive beast. I know it's ugly. I know it's ugly. But you're looking, I think Clowney's guaranteed.
That was a collective ugh.
I think Clowney's guaranteed 100 to 110 points in her league this year. So I think she picks that up, whereas Beckham may be competitive at 110 to 150. The Snowflake doesn't look for glamour players. She looks for long-term commitment, and this fits her motif of a player who's going to be around for 10 years. So I'm probably wrong, and she'll prove me wrong by going with some high-profile receiver or something this year. But I honestly, after looking at her team and research, I think this is the best points draft she could take, and immediate impact starting player for her.
If y'all could see the hand signals that are going on around this
are going down.
Hey, you watch ESPN and they move their hands a little bit, but not here. No, I mean, we are, everybody.
Herm Everett's got nothing like
chickens. He only got one.
Alan's almost slapped me twice.
But that's my pick. Now, I listen to your alls, but I really do. I think that's just the style of play she has.
My only statement is that tight ends are better than defensive players, and I wouldn't.
I guess 110, 120 points for Clowney this year.
I won't argue with the points that you're saying.
She has Gronk as a tight end,
right?
If he's
there's no way she's taking that wrong.
No, wait. Maybe I didn't make that clear. I'm not saying she'd take a tight end. What I was saying is I won't take a tight end in the first round. I definitely won't take it.
There's no receiver she's going to take it. She's going to start either.
But the problem with
Gordon, maybe.
Players,
well, yeah.
With Gordon,
I guess he can fit one in and hold on to him for a year.
I'll tell you, the problem with defensive players is that so many of them are in the same ranking as far as points go that you can find one.
I just think this is a 10-year. It's a Watts. You pick him up, you have him for 10 years, and you're in the top 10 for 10 years.
You may be right.
I had her, and of course, this is completely different because of our draft, if QBs fall differently. I think that is her one weakness, not at the starters, but at the backup. She's depending on Henny to go all season. If one of the QBs that we've previously drafted falls, I think that would be her snatch. She would grab them up right there. And
I just think that's wrong, and you can't even say that. I don't think you're allowed to say that sentence on the radio or in TV or anything other than a porn movie. I just think you can't say this is her snatch. It just
the great thing is I said it and I went to the next sentence and just thought she's gonna be so mad when she
this is done. It just went to the garbage, Randy. You're pinched. You're finished.
YouTube's not even gonna let this be posted at this point. Yeah, hopefully we can edit that out. I think the QB would be where she goes. Even the watchers, you can see him laughing. Just jiggling.
You really said that.
If she, I'm gonna know if she listened to the video because at some point she's gonna come up and just smack me for that one.
If she doesn't, she just blew this whole thing off. All right, so I got her going Clowney. It was my pick. I agree. The quarterback is something she can look at, but I'm telling you, I think she looks for consistency, and this is a 10-year vet she can put into it. Minimal risk on Clowney.
I can't disagree too much.
I can disagree altogether, but yeah, I don't disagree with your theory.
It's not a terrible pick. It's just not one I would think.
Yeah, I don't see many people taking defense. No. If there was one, I can see it being her.
Yeah.
Kind of like Keith taking Vinatieri. I can't believe it.
That's right.
So we'll wrap this all up with the final pick here. We're only going to do one round, which will be Alf's Destroyers with the 12th pick, the reigning champions. So they'll come in 12th. Well, we know he loves running backs, but I really don't think running back is his need this year. I think he needs a backup QB, but at this point he could take Derek Carr and maybe get a starter for a bye week. Maybe, depending on how bad Schaub plays. I'm not sure that's the way to go. Wide receiver, you could use some help here. Somebody seems to like Odell Beckham. I'm not sure, but
it's not the same person who likes Mike Evans.
No. Evans is gone. I put him on every other team. He can't go to Alf. He's a sleeper. Don't tell anybody.
Evans, all right.
Yeah, keep Evans
who's
quiet.
That?
I've got a bad pick here. I'm not even sure I like it. I did this pick earlier in the week, and I've kind of come off of it a little bit, but I'm going to stick with it because I wrote it down. And I'm going to go Jeremy Hill for the Bengals. He's a running back. He would fit the motif, but the more I think about it, the more it doesn't make sense, and that Alf probably doesn't want a backup running back for a guy who's really talented in Bernard. So ultimately, I'm going to change my mind right here live, and I'm going to go with Carlos Hyde. I still think the running back is the best way to go. I think he could throw out his Beckham pick, who is the number 3 receiver in New York, or he could take the backup because Kendall Hunter's gone for the season.
That's right.
Lattimore, I don't think he'll ever play. He's blown out those legs, and now this is the second year he can't get on the field.
Yeah.
Gore eventually has to stop running.
That's right.
Running. He's the living mummy. But at some point, he's got to start. He's got to get injured. He's got to slow down. And I think Hyde is the next starting quarterback or starting running back. So ultimately,
Gore will take my team to the championship. Him and Kurt Warner. I'm telling you right now.
Well, even if Gore is great this year, in the next year, Hyde should be the starter. I mean, at some point, Hyde's going to be the starter. Jeremy Hill is never going to be the starter as long as Giovanni Bernard is healthy. So I'm going to go with Carlos Hyde. I wrote Hill. I think Hyde has moved up a little bit due to the Hunter injury. So I'm going to put Carlos Hyde as our 12th pick.
I really can't argue that. I like Hyde. I was trying to sneak him
Carlos
into the
Hyde, and I cannot lie.
I cannot lie. Yeah.
Who other running back is
that?
I like pie.
What? What was that?
He likes pie.
You're supposed to get sprung.
What?
No, just never mind.
In fairness to him, though, I would take some pie if we had pie right now.
I agree.
I would not be against pie.
Peach, apple.
So I like Carlos Hyde. I think he's a good pick here. I actually had him taking Kadeem Carey from the Bears.
And I guess the running back, I'm not going to tell you. Yeah,
that's a handcuff, and as we've talked to him for the last 10 minutes, he does not like the handcuff.
He's got to put down. To be honest, by this point in our draft, he'll be taking Odom. Odom. Who the heck is Odom?
Greg Oden or Lamar Odom, the gummy bear guy?
Come on. Well, I'm not going to tell you who I'm going to pick, but I think both of you have good research there. I don't like Jeremy Hill because of the handcuff situation. I do think I wish last year I could have got Giovanni Bernard.
Everybody wishes
what
they
a
got
The
him.
bad part is 3 of us traded out of the pick before it was taken.
What a talent. And then Bell, of course, from last year.
Well, if you're talking last year, you're talking probably the best running back draft we've had since the year Forte and Chris Johnson came out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Rebecca's got Lacey and Ball, who both look like number ones
this
Bernard,
year.
Bell. You couldn't go wrong. And somehow I still didn't draft one of them.
And
I
then,
know the feeling.
I'm always willing to admit I don't know receivers as well as I should, but Beckham probably sticking out. If he's there at 12, that would be very tempting.
So we've thrown out probably 20 names. So you guys got some different
That's
options
right.
for all
That's
these picks. I would like to just take a minute real quick. There are 2 teams that do not have a first-round draft pick, if I'm correct. Dallas Primetime
Correct.
and Cavance Crusaders.
Darn it.
And I just want to talk about them. We're not going to give them an individual pick because Dallas Primetime is the 18th pick of the draft. That's way too far. But I do think she's pretty set at quarterback. I think she needs help at wide receiver and running back. I don't see it happening in this draft, but I think she knows her needs. I think she's gotten to the point where she's got the league. This will be the 4th year.
She'll pick up a scrap, and it'll be a good one. She's learning how to play. She'll pick up a low-level receiver and move from there. I think Cavant trades into the first round.
Well, let me say one last thing about Dallas Primetime before we go, and she'll think I'm just trying to milk her, but in some ways maybe I am. I do think the smartest move for her, though, would be to package Peterson this season.
I agree.
If you could get rid of Peterson, I know Adrian Peterson is the number one. I know he's great, but if you could get 2 young players, and you're not. Don't take a crap young players, but if you could get 2
if you could get a Bernard
stars,
or
if you could get a Bernard, Bernard and
If
Bell,
you can get either of those, you just get
Place your
one.
ball.
I'm telling you.
yeah.
And if you do trade off, I got a Christmas ornament I can put in on the trade.
I think this is the pick for her, or the year for her to get rid of Peterson. Because Peterson comes out and is a little sluggish.
Done.
He's dropping.
Done.
And
That's
then
right.
everybody starts to say, well, he's
That's
a
right.
30-year-old running back.
That's right.
That's the happen. Right now, he's a freak of nature.
And I would love to put him back on my team to retire out on the team he started.
And since we're going to talk about Peterson, why do we have the watcher watching instead of Peterson? Bring your ornaments.
Well, the ornament, it has its own place in my house, right behind a picture of my. Never mind.
Is that where you keep your
My ball.
no.
Yeah, right. A picture of a bum. So yeah, and I think looking at Cavant, I think he trades into the first round. I'm not sure exactly where he falls,
Bruce Warrior.
but he's got the firepower to make a big trade if there's somebody he really wants to nail. And if he doesn't, that came out bad. Yeah.
Now who's on the X-rated one?
Anyway,
Alphabet
Sorry,
list.
YouTube.
if he wants to move into the first round, I think he's got the means to do it. And I just don't know if there's anybody who he's going to really target that he wants that bad.
I think the problem with Cavance Crusaders is, and I think he's slowly getting there, especially with the trade he just made to Rags to Riches, he's old. He's been old for a while with Brady and Gore. He's very ugly.
Alpha's older.
But I'm not as ugly.
But he can throw out the 4-1.
That's right.
Which just ends the argument.
Don't make me slam the table 4-1 again.
The watcher barely stood the first slamming. I've got him propped. He's very close.
All right, fine. You're going to go 4-1. I'm going to go paychecks.
Oh, now we're going paycheck.
Hey, I can't help the government subsidies down to less than poverty level right now. The rest of y'all keep working and buy my groceries. That's all I can care about.
KC's going to get some rookies. He's got to get some young players. He's playing lottery, and eventually he'll get a few, and it'll improve everything.
I really look for him to trade into the first round. I just don't know where and who he's working
Or what
with.
he's looking for.
I know he's not working with me, so
For-
I ain't got work.
For what it matters, I look for him to trade into the first round also, Drew's Warrior. So maybe some people should send him some draft offers here.
There you go.
So we touched on this a little bit at the beginning. Who do you see winning it? We'll start with Al. Who do you
I'm
see?
going this year. I really do. I believe that with the new divisions, I think it is Snowflake's time to shine. I think I'll take her right down to the wire. It'll be the last 2 games of the week, but I think she'll pull out the playoffs, and I think she'll be hard to stop once she gets on the roll.
Vance?
I think that's actually a very good pick. I like Snowflake, but I got to tell you, you've got to stop cheap trick.